Relationship advice. My 29 male, girlfriend 26 female, cheated and the kid, 2 male, I thought was mine is not. People keep telling me I have to stay in the kid's life and be his dad, but I can't even stand to look at him now. Long story short, my now ex-girlfriend was passing off another man's kid as mine. I believed it for nearly 2 years until certain details came out from people in our social circle that led me to suspect that she had been unfaithful around the time the kid would have been conceived. I confronted her, and after initially denying it, she eventually broke down and admitted that the kid wasn't mine. I want to put this all behind me to whatever extent possible. I've moved out of our apartment already. Lease expires in 4 months, and I'll pay my share till then, but that's it. I've mostly cut off contact with my ex and her friends and family. But I also adamantly do not want to be involved in the kid's life anymore, and even some of my friends/family who consoled me when I found out think I have a responsibility to go on being his father. It's not like I blame the kid for how he was conceived, but ever since I found out the truth, it feels like every happy memory I've had from the last 2 years is poisoned. I can't look at him without feeling like a stupid, gullible schmuck, and I feel sick and angry when I think of the thousands of dollars I've spent on him so far. Money I could have saved for a car and a mortgage, which I gladly spent on what I thought was going to be my wife and our child. I'm willing to spend every last penny I have in attorney's fees to see what my options are, to disentangle myself from this relationship, or at least to limit the bleeding. When I told my ex about this, she begged not to go through with it. But as awful as it sounds, I just don't feel any love for this kid anymore, like a light clicked off in my head. I told her to get the biological father to be his dad, but she says that guy is unreliable and not capable of emotionally or financially supporting a child. Which made me question why that's my problem. She chose to bear this guy's kid. Nobody supports me in this, not even my parents, which I understand. They're distraught because the kid they thought was their first grandchild is in fact not. But they're not the ones who are going to be paying for him. What happens when I meet a decent woman and want to start a real family of my own with her? Am I going to have to keep supporting another man's kid at the same time, give him the money and care that I should be spending on my real children? I don't yet know if it's legally feasible for me to disentangle myself completely from this kid and his mother. But am I really so crazy for wanting to do so? Now for the top advice of this post. Everyone who is telling you to care for the kid and not abandon him, tell them that they can support the kid instead of you, if they feel so freaking bad. They are just as related to the kid as you are. This. Also, if OP stays in the kid's life, what happens when the mother meets a new guy? Things get weird because OP, who is not the father, is still in the picture. Does he then get cut out anyway? Better to cut ties while the kid is too young to remember you, OP. It's harsh, but true. You aren't his dad. You aren't in the obligation to be in his life. This might be an r/legal advice post. If OP signed a birth certificate, he may need a lawyer to correct that. Some places make someone pay child support if they don't contest paternity within X amount of time. Let's hope he didn't sign it, and if he did, he falls within the time to contest. Edit. After looking, skip legal advice son and go straight to an attorney. This situation on the surface seems cut and dry, but OP will want to get ahead of it. If he leaves her, she can sue for back child support payments, and he gives up his rights under the potential "I'm not the real father" area. You are not crazy at all. He's still young, and while toddlers have some personality, he hasn't really come into the age where he has his own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, etc. So it makes sense that you really don't love him anymore. I raised a kid for about a year. No chance was mine. He was about 4 months old when I met his mom. After we broke up, some friends encouraged me to stay in his life. But why? Eventually, his mom was going to move on. Why should I be playing pretend dad? You're in the same situation. Getting out of paying child support is going to be a battle. I'm not sure how hard. I think that's going to depend on a lot. Absolutely find a lawyer for a consultation at the least. He's almost certainly on the hook for child support, unless the bio father is willing to take over paying. Now for the next story. Update. My 24 female, boyfriend 28 male, told me to get a paternity test when I told him I was pregnant. Original story. I've been in a relationship with Nico for 3 years now, and we were discussing plans to move in together later this year and becoming engaged by next year. We were always very open and communicative when it came to our relationship and never had any big problems, besides the petty argument here and there. I found out I was pregnant about a week ago and was super scared because my career is just taking off now and I'm not emotionally or financially ready to have a baby. I told Nico the day after I found out since I was meeting him in person. I never thought he would be ecstatic or anything about the pregnancy. However, he just looked at me and asked me to get a paternity test. I was shocked and hurt that he would suggest I was sleeping with anyone else. It grew into a huge fight where I asked him why he didn't trust me to even ask me that. He said he did trust me and didn't think I was a cheater, but he was not ready for a kid, and if there's a chance that it's not his kid, he wanted to be sure because he was not taking care of it if it's not his. This logic doesn't make any sense to me though, because if he trusted me, then why is there any doubt that the kid isn't his? I went to him to see what we can do together and get over it together, but instead, I feel like I was just slapped. I'm not even sure if I want to be with him anymore due to this. 3 years together and this is what he thinks of me? Also, throughout the week, I've been having second thoughts on terminating the baby as well. I'm so scared I'll regret it later and miss my baby. But Nico keeps insisting on a test first before conversations about it since he's not sure if it's his yet. Now let's read the top advice before the update. These are 2 different topics. 1. Do you want to keep the baby? That's your decision. 2. Do you want Nico to be part of your life? The fact he would immediately question paternity makes me think he's looking to bolt. Do you want that uncertainty and unreliability in your life? He may be looking for a way out. Or he may have read too many "I just found out that I've been raising some other man's child for the last 15 years" stories on this forum, or one like it. But it's probably the first case, I think. One thing you should consider is if waiting for the paternity test will make it too late to get a termination. You're only 24, you don't feel ready for a kid. The father is being aggressively awful about not wanting the kid. It seems like keeping the baby would give a lot more cause for regret than waiting for a better situation to have a wanted baby. Yes, I can't believe I didn't see this earlier. Procedures are easier the earlier they occur, and paternity tests are expensive. It may put OP in a precarious situation time-wise. Hi, I'm just here to say that when I got a procedure, I knew immediately that I didn't want to carry the pregnancy to term and had absolutely no regrets with getting rid of it. When you don't want to be pregnant, you won't suddenly regret it when you get a termination. That's just what pro-birthers want you to think, so you doubt yourself. If that's what you want, you'll only feel immense relief. I just want to add, it may not be so straightforward for you either. I am vehemently pro-choice, but my own procedure was not easy on me, despite my having no doubt whatsoever what I wanted to do. I felt both relief and guilt. If you also find that your feelings are far more complex than you thought they would be, know that you aren't alone, and also know that doesn't mean that you made a wrong decision. Sometimes, the best choice is a painful one. Now for the update. Just wanted to give an update and clear some things up from my original post. I read every comment on my previous post and thank everyone for giving their insights. Some things that people misunderstood were that 1. I refused to get a paternity test ever, and 2. I was going to get rid of the baby because of my boyfriend. Sorry I didn't make it clearer before, since I was in a bad headspace. I'll try my best now. To clear things up, I was never against a paternity test since I knew the baby was definitely his. And if it told me he was just insecure about it, I would have taken it. The problem I had was his lack of communication and support of me. When I told him I was pregnant, I wanted him to be there for me and help me work through it together because it was our child together. I was scared and anxious and nervous and didn't know what to do, and I needed him. When he bluntly just told me to get a paternity test first, I was hurt. Plus, I didn't even know until I read the comments in my original post that you could get a paternity test while pregnant, but it seemed to me that it would have been dangerous anyways. I thought I needed to birth the baby to get the test, and that defeated the point in discussing what to do in the first place. Secondly, when I said that Nico insisted on getting the test first before communicating, I meant he stopped all communication with me. He wouldn't say good morning to me, good night, how was my day, how I was feeling, tell me about his day. Nothing. It wasn't just he didn't want to talk about the potential baby, it was that he didn't want to talk to me at all because I could potentially be carrying someone else's baby even though he said he trusted me. When I said I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep the baby, I didn't mean it was because of Nico. I meant just in general. I didn't think I could handle a baby and wanted to develop my career more. I wouldn't terminate a baby just because of a guy. So in the end, after him not talking to me for about 2 weeks, he texted me and said, "I realized that I didn't miss you at all during this time we didn't talk. It's not that I thought you cheated on me, because I don't think that. I'm just not in love with you anymore, and I don't want to raise a baby with you. I've been talking to other girls during this time, and I missed that over staying with you. Keep the baby or not, I don't care." I honestly thought our relationship was so solid and stable before this. We always laughed together, made plans for the future, talked about getting engaged and living together later this year, and now this. To say that I fell apart is an understatement. As for the baby, well, I thought about it, and I decided to keep it. I saw a lot of comments about pro-life and pro-choice, and I definitely think it is everyone's choice to choose what to do. But I've always wanted kids one day, and I feel like if I looked back to this time in the future, I would always wonder what if I kept the baby. What kind of a person would they be? I imagined a life with my baby, and after I did that, I honestly couldn't see a life without them in it anymore. This is not a pro-life PSA though, and I don't want anyone to take this and use it as an argument against women who choose a procedure. I did the calculations and spoke to my financial advisor, and contrary to what I thought, I am well within the means to afford a baby. I don't know why I thought I wasn't before, to be honest. Maybe I was just scared. My career will drop since I am a corporate lawyer, and in my field, if you're not working all the time and giving it 200%, you won't climb the ladder and make that 7-figure income. That was my goal before, but honestly, I think this baby is worth letting that go. Now for some comments. Get that child support too. That will likely require a paternity test, and then he can get what he wanted. This response is amazing, and I appreciate the irony of this situation. Lol. Child support. Enjoy that, baby mama. The newborn stage is the easiest, and what follows is so sweet because their little personality starts shining through. It makes it all worth it. I believe in you. You got this. I'm sorry, OP. Please do not let child support go because you can afford it. It's for your child. Get a lawyer, pursue paternity test, and put him on child support. Save it for college or a down payment on a house for your child. Best of luck. This is a lot to take in. Please, either pursue child support or ask him to sign over his paternal rights. Either or, if you genuinely do not want/need the money and you do not want to deal with him, you need to have him sign over his paternal rights. That way, he has no legal claim to the baby. Please do this for your sanity and the child's well-being. If in the future he wishes to meet the child, then it will be 100% up to you on how to facilitate that. That way, none of his family has a claim to the child either. Honestly, getting him to sign over his rights just prevents a lot of nasty future drama that we have seen on this sub before. Now for the last story. I, 20s female, am pregnant. The father, older male, wants to pay me hush money to not disclose his identity. I can't give many details because I can't have this traced back to me. I am also aware that this is more than likely not the best place to ask this, but I have no one to ask in real life. And I've spent the last month debating the pros and cons of this, so I'm turning to the internet in the hopes that I can use any advice given to get my thoughts straight. I've spent a while in a relationship with someone I should never have been in a relationship with. He's not a celebrity, but he has a reputation that is important to protect, and is making a very cushy living based on his reputation. I know it was a bad idea to get involved with him, but it's happened now, and the end result is that I'm pregnant. My first option was to terminate, but he convinced me not to, saying he would look after me and the baby and he loved us both. Then, once I was past the deadline for the procedure, he said that was all BS and he never had any intention of looking after us, but he couldn't allow a termination due to his reputation. Because people know that we know each other, and just the news that I had a procedure would cause issues for him, and that's without the additional detail that it was his child. He's now offered me money, and it's a lot. Several years of salary for me, all paid in one lump sum. It's not early retirement money, but it could buy me a house outright, no mortgage, and still have money to make a sizable trust fund for my child and a comfortable emergency fund for me. The money is mine on the condition that I don't make him do anything. That means no signing the birth certificate, no custody, and no child support. I take the cash and leave him alone for the next 18 years. He says when the child is an adult, I can give them his name, but he can't make any promises. He'd also prefer I moved away from here with his money. He said something about legalities, but I am not sure if this is a legally enforceable situation. If a contract could be created that would be enforceable in a court law, any other legal elements that could factor in here, or if the talk of legalities was all BS meant to sway me one way or another. Emotionally, I'm a wreck. I've started therapy, and that is helping a lot. But I can't even talk to my therapist about the situation because I'm worried about the potential legalities of it. I only have one sibling I'm still in contact with, don't speak to my parents, and don't have a lot of friends. So there's not much holding me here. I can afford this baby without the money, or with court-ordered child support, but this is still a lot of money, probably more than I'll make this whole decade combined. However, I feel like I'm being bought, and I hate this feeling. And I don't want my child to resent me when they turn 18 for hiding who their father is, or even how I'd approach dealing with questions about their father for 18 years. But I also don't want to let my pride get in the way of giving my child the stability I never had as a kid. I could always go the legal route, have the baby, and get him on a birth certificate and paying child support, but that would become public record and would ruin my ex's life. And he's the type to try and get full custody out of self-preservation or spite, and with the legal representation he can afford, he would win. I can't adopt out the baby before anyone suggests it, because I've spent months bonding with my child and can't imagine giving them up at this stage. What do? Do I take the money and leave my ex out of this? Should I stick with the legal route and let the courts decide? If I did take this money, what do I tell my child when they ask about their father? I tell him to double the offer, but I'm a duck and I don't appreciate being screwed around. Absolutely this, and after you get your money, make sure you have someone help you manage it all. Talk to an attorney. Get child support set up once the baby's here. He's already lied to you once. Why would this promise of money be any different? Whether or not you take the money, it sounds like you will both be better off without this scumbag in either of your lives. I think so too. I think making a clean break will be the best idea, but the easiest way to do that would be taking the money and moving. And I don't know if taking the money is the best idea. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.